This week we're talking Welsh theatre triumphs, gagging at Cabaret, and a stellar star spectacular at Newport Riverfront.
Plus, how do you raise an issue without being labelled a drama queen? And is being Welsh and making Welsh art limiting you? Let's go. Hello and welcome to Pain in the Arts, the podcast about the arts and creative sector in Wales, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the why did I choose this career moment. I'm broadcaster Chris J. Birch, and
I am artist, writer, and editor for the Edit Wales, Jack Chris Birch. Nearly forgot my own name there. Each week we're going to be breaking down what's going on in the art and creative sector in Wales. So if that's something that interests you, stick around.
So if you work in the arts, you want to work in the arts, if you just love it from afar, welcome. You're in good company here, along with 10,000 plus other people on YouTube.
I feel like there should be a party popper animation.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? And also, we have got 3,000+ people viewing us or listening to us or whatever on Spotify and all those other platforms as well. It's crazy.
And I'm glad we decided to do the move to do like a, what are they calling it in Ind?
A vidcast.
Vidcast, is that the right word? I'm glad that we decided, because we toyed on the idea of not, didn't we?
We did.
Because we thought if we just did it as a normal podcast, then we'd be able to record it on the go or like just anywhere really. The backdrop doesn't matter, the studio doesn't matter. We can just sort of pick up our mics and the recording equipment and go. But clearly you guys like seeing us. I don't know why. I usually get the completely opposite.
Yeah, it's great. No, but we've had a very, very busy week in the arts this week, and I think people have started. But certainly it's happened to me. Where people have just come up to us and been like, oh, I love the podcast. I've got a question. And all of a sudden you get sort of commandeered for 5 minutes. Really. You just get asked a question thinking that you're going to instantly know the answer. Bit of research done here in advance, I will say normally. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, we have had a busy week. So let's unpack it, Jack. Where did we start?
Okay, so we mentioned it briefly, but we hadn't gone to go and see it by the time we recorded last week's podcast, which was My Mixed Up Tape.
My Mixed Up Tape,
which was a 5-star production for me. It was
Katie Payne.
It was a review that I really enjoyed writing because I kind of got to relive it while I was writing it, and I got to rethink of everything that was going on there. Really great production, and like I said something similar in my review to it. It was like Welsh theatre history being made there and then, making like this will be something that 100% they're referencing in books for drama schools and things like that.
100%.
How to tell authentic stories the right way.
Well, this is it. This is it for me. And it's all about the thing that hit me the hardest there is that it's just being told by somebody who's from Pontypridd, who knows Pontypridd, and is talking about a story that goes on in Pontypridd. And for me, that makes it a very genuine experience. And especially because I think it's very relatable, probably is the same for you as well, because we grew up in very much the same era as the writer and central performer, actor there, Katie Payne. It's all going on in an era that we grew up in, and so we can very much relate to what's going on.
The music was very relatable.
The music was incredible. So what's basically happening is you're following a one-person, very quick dialogue as well, which really kept me.
I don't know how she did it. I genuinely don't know how she did it. Someone said to me, who'd seen it a couple of days later, like, how does she remember all of those lines? Like, did she seem to do it perfectly when I saw it? Were there any, did she fluff any lines? And I was like, honestly, I couldn't tell you if she did, because she just moved with such confidence and speed that she knew, not only she knew the lines, but she knew the story. So it didn't matter because she delivers a lot of dialogue.
There's a lot. And do you know what? I want to say that I feel like I need to see the script, because I feel like there's a 90-minute, even 100-minute set of performances going on there in what is essentially 70 minutes.
Because we're all applauding like Cynthia Erivo doing Dracula. I think we all should be applauding Katie Payne for doing that at such high levels of emotion throughout the whole thing as well. Like, it's not a one-note production at all. She goes through every emotion up and down and through that.
And she plays the most. She's one actor, but at the same time is playing multiple roles.
Yeah.
And her face, her mannerisms, her voice, everything changes, and it's so quick between her and the person she's playing and back to her, and it's so incredibly done, honestly. And for me, talking about emotion, okay, I laughed 99% of the way through it, right? And I consider myself a very stoic person when it comes to theatre. You will not get anything but a smile or a laugh out of me when I go to the theatre, and yet I'm going to blame the smoke machine, and yet A tear was in my eye at one point.
Well, that's good.
She
That's
got an emotion out of
that
me.
shows that it works. If it's gotten a tear out of you, I don't cry at anything. I really, really
No,
don't.
I know.
If I cried at something, then something's really wrong. A set piece has fallen on me or something. But
We've been to plays where that's not it's fallen on you. Do you remember that
not
one?
me. Yeah,
I
no,
know,
we
won't
have
go
been
into
to
that.
productions where that's happened. But what I think is a sign of a good production for me is when I go and see it in the evening, and normally I make notes as I'm leaving the theatre, and things are swirling around in my head and stuff like that. And especially with this one, because there's no interval, so I didn't have the opportunity to like jump onto the notes on my phone and type things in. So as soon as I left, I was making notes. And I woke up the next morning and instantly, like, it just pinged into my head the first task that I wanted to do was write the review. And that's how I always know if it was a production that I've enjoyed. If it feels like a bit of a slog to write the review, then I'm like, oh, you didn't really enjoy this, did you? If you don't want to write about it the next day. Because I genuinely like what I do. I like writing about the arts and culture sector and showing my reflections on my position of how I felt things were perceived.
I do want to say though, I think it's very important to note, and I don't know if we've talked about this ever on the podcast, but I think we've talked about it heavily ourselves, that sometimes you go to a production that you walk away and you didn't really enjoy, but then I think you have and I'm not just saying this because I'm married to you, but I think you have the ability to detach yourself from, this is not the production for me. I am not the target audience. This is not what I want to see. But it's still a great performance.
The edit is still small enough in a sense in its conception that there's not a team of 1,000 arts and culture journalists in Wales writing for us and going to productions, and I can perfectly match them up to every production that we get offered to go and review. So I do have to go into there's an element of responsibility that I put on myself when I go to these things to think that this might not have been written for me as the audience that it was intended for. Yeah. So I need to put myself in the shoes of the audience that it's intended for. Will they enjoy it? Is it good value for money? Is it a good story? Is it good acting? Is it good? And I have to put all those things into my head. I can't just walk into something and think, well, no, I didn't like that. And did I not like that because it was for me? Or did I not like that because it was for me and it wasn't great?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's harder than I think people think it is. It's harder than just getting free tickets, going and have a little wine at the bar most evenings and watch a play or a production unfold in front of you. There's a lot more to it.
I will be fair though, I get to do that because I am the +1 for most of these things. So I just get to have a great time, go and see some fantastic theatre or some fantastic art exhibition or wherever we're going to go and see, and then walk away, drive home going, that was lovely, wasn't it? Yeah. You should put this in your review, you should put that in your review, and then forgetting the fact that you actually have to do that.
Yeah. Yes.
I know, it was brilliant. No, but yeah, we went to go and see that. So Katie Payne getting an emotion out of me for once.
Yeah. We also got to go and see Gagged at Cabaret.
I was going to say Gagged.
Which I'm really excited about. So that's a Cabaret and Little Wonders like collaboration presents. Yeah. So the one that we went, I'm just checking that I remember the names of all the comedians. So it was Lee Peart that hosted it.
Yes.
Which I was really excited for because I like his and Alan Carr's podcast, Bottoms Up.
You can watch both. You can.
Yeah, both are great. So he was the host of it, and he is like dry, witty, hilarious, really good host for that event. I think he really like hit the nail on the head. For their first one, he sort of set the standard of what the rest of them are going to be like.
And I will say, from an MC compare host perspective, it is very difficult to get blood up to a stone when you have to warm up a room that is usually just quite cold, and you're the one trying to entertain them, and they're the ones saying they want to laugh, but they're holding back because they just need to be warmed up into it. And then Act 1 comes out and it flies, as a result of the work that the compare does. And I think that's so important.
Definitely. But yeah, so we were hosting was Lee Peart. We had Cheka, who was a hilarious comedian.
Yeah.
She drew the line of inappropriate so well that you laughed. Yeah, you laughed at things. Do you know what it was that made it for me though? Was that she told a joke that she knew was like really close to towing the line, but her facial expressions were the thing that made me laugh. Could she say something and then go, ooh, because she knew the audience weren't going to react in a way to a typical joke. Yeah. And I think that meant it was a really well-formed, well-rehearsed set for me. Moving on from that then,
I would say we'll have to we could actually tell one of the jokes on here, but we'd have to turn this into an 18+ podcast.
Yeah, we're not telling any of those.
None of those, absolutely.
But anyway, moving on, we had Jane Edwards, who is
great.
one of our own, is Welsh.
Yes.
hilarious. That bit at the end, the interpretive dance, I will say no more in case you see that set for yourself anyway. But it had me rocking, and it had me thinking of my sister, actually. I can imagine her doing that type of thing in the living room with her dog. I'll leave the rest of that up to you.
Go and see the show, you'll understand.
And then the headline act was Alex Mitchell, who
was hilarious.
Hilarious. I've seen bits of his before, I've always found him quite funny. And the whole theme of this, in case you don't know all of the comedians linked to this, is it's queer comedy, basically. And some of them are newer to the industry, some of them are more well known, and it's basically just circulating them out into the world and putting them on a platform. And it was hilarious, like such a fun night out. And I was really excited to find out that it's going to be a reoccurring thing at Cabaret.
Absolutely, yeah. I think they're going to have, we were talking to Aled, who runs Cabaret, and to be fair, he knocks it out of the park with that place.
So he doesn't stop. We follow each other on socials, and he is constantly doing something, going somewhere, booking new events, booking new talent. He's a force. I
mean, and it's a tough old job. I think people just assume, oh, you're going to go see some shows, or you just decide if you're going to put that one on. And I'm sure there are some people out there, some producers out there, or some venue owners out there who do that. But you can see that they are co-producing, they're creating, they're making things, they're bringing international talent to Wales. And okay, yes, people would say, oh, well, it's all going on in Cardiff. Yes, it is all going on in Cardiff in this aspect specifically, because a lot of these international and national acts, they're not going to go, very sad as it is, they're not going to go to a Valleys venue in a lot of occasions, only because the number of people that will come to that venue is lower, whereas population density, I mean, it's a numbers game. You're going to get far more people through the door, you're going to get far more return on your investment, you're going to do it. So, and for Wales, we're not that badly connected. I mean, we went up to Abergavenny earlier, and we managed to catch a train up there.
Well, you say that, but I think you try and go any further than Abergavenny, you're going to be a bit screwed. You're going to have to change from a train to a horse and buggy at some point. It's not, or you're going to have to remortgage your house for the train ticket. It's not as easy as it should be.
It was expensive in Abergavenny.
That's a totally different subject to go into, because I will rant all day. But yeah, we were in Abergavenny today for the Monmouthshire Cultural Celebration, which was great. You were on a panel there talking and discussing. It was nice to see so many creative people in a room together, all on the same page.
Yes.
And no one was there besides one person. One man got a little bit rowdy in the crowd asking questions, which, to be honest with you, it disappointed me a little bit, because it lowered the tone. Up until that point, the entire day just felt like yes, we're all in this together. Yes, things are hard, things are difficult, but we're here to celebrate what we've already done and sort of turn over a new leaf in positivity, that yes, there's a cost of living crisis. Yes, there's a war going on in the Middle East, which is going to inevitably end up affecting this side of the world.
Could be over by the time this comes out.
Well, yes, there's funding struggles, and not everyone can get the funding that they want, but that's what we were all there to discuss: multiple funding avenues, listen to inspirational artists and speakers who work in the sector in Monmouthshire, who are making a good go of things and are succeeding in what they're doing and passionate about what they're doing as well. So it was a really nice event to go to, I think.
I enjoyed it. I think it's brilliant to see arts and creative organizations all getting together and just having a chat and just seeing what each other are up to. We need far more of that. I mean, I use the word networking, and I already cringe when I say it. But it needs to be something like that. We do need to have these meetups, these occasional just get together. And I know resources tough, times are hard, and yeah, we haven't got enough hours in the day, yes. But sometimes there are things that are more important. And I think getting together and chatting is sometimes a little bit more important, because you share best practices.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't get that with a Teams call or something like that. It's all the connection, all the fun, all the actual activity happens in the gaps in between the meetings, and you don't get that on Teams, and you don't get that on Zoom.
Well, you know me, I hate a Teams call.
It rejects them out of
9 times out of 10. I'll reject a Team call, because I need to see people in person.
Yeah, fair.
COVID's over now. We are not going to be catching diseases off each other if we don't have compromised immune systems. We can be meeting face to face now. We did it before. Zoom was not as widely used as it was before COVID, and it seems people have slipped into this sort of lazy habit of just sitting at their computer screen. And yeah, I get it. You can probably double how many meetings you have in a week by doing them back to back on Zoom. But also, you're never leaving your house, just staring at a screen. You're not meeting people. And I find when you meet people, you get so much more out of it when you're just in the space with them. You know, I probably have quoted this before on the podcast, but to quote Hamilton, to be in the room where it happens.
No, that's not just quoted on this podcast. You practically say that every week.
I know. And it's not even up there in my top 10 musicals. So I don't know why I quote it so much.
You didn't even meet Lin-Manuel when you designed the house.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Just to be absolutely clear, you were one of the team, or you were the team that designed Lin-Manuel Miranda's house.
Well, one of the times he was in Cardiff, yeah. But no, I never met him then. And I think Hamilton had come out at that point, or maybe, yeah, it had. Yeah. And I had a couple of family members who were quoting it back when I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm so sorry. But my resting place for theatre was always lined in like grassroots, freelance, that sort of indie area. That's where I've always focused my attention.
I just need to add into that Lin-Manuel thing that I obviously met Lin a few times because obviously we were back and forth there. And I said, what do you do? And he said, oh, well, I've written this play, and I was like, oh, right, nice. Anything else? Oh, because that just bypassed me altogether.
You're embarrassment.
I know, but I mean, to be fair, when he did say he had just finished Mary Poppins, that raised my eyes. You know, I was like,
you do like a bit of Mary Poppins.
I do love a bit of Mary Poppins. Yeah. I wanted to know more then.
Yeah. Yeah, we've also, so this week as well, we've also been in the preliminary stages of our like TEDx Bute Street planning.
We have.
So that's going on in the Senate. The speakers are booked. That's all organised and done.
The venue is booked.
The venue is booked, even though there was a couple of wobbles there where we thought it wasn't going to be, even though we had the confirmation meeting it was. It's fine. It's sorted. It's done. It's going ahead.
Honestly, I was having kittens.
Yes.
That's probably the most polite thing to say at this moment.
So yeah, we're in the stages of organising all of that at the moment, which is more chaos. It is like herding cats.
Yes, it is.
Trying to get everyone sort of in the same place at the same time and not on a Zoom call. But anyway... well, I just think you're not going to be delivering your speech via Zoom, will you? You're going to be doing it in person. So let's start as we mean to go on. We'll do everything in person. It's not even just the speakers, to be honest, but lots of facilitators and organisers that are going to be involved in the event. We've got to pull a lot of people together for it.
But it is a cultural celebration that day as well. It will be lots of artistic and creative people that will be just coming together, talking in the heart of our political power in Cardiff Bay, just straight after we are the first public event, straight after the election.
I think, yeah. But yeah, and hopefully we're going to have an area dedicated to arts and cultural organisations on the mezzanine upstairs, so people like a representative from places like Arts Council Wales, Literacy Wales, Film Wales,
Creative Wales,
or Creative Cardiff or Creative Wales, both of them.
Yeah.
So they're all going to be upstairs, a representative from there. So you can come in, you can dip in and out of the talks. There's going to be nice little breaks through the day where you can go upstairs and you can just have a chat with these people, ask them questions that you want answered, and you know, sort of kind of what we do here, but you can just go direct to the people, because sometimes we have to reach out to the people that we know in all of these industries if we know them,
these answers,
to get some of these answers, whereas you're going to be able to go straight to the horse and say, answer my question, please. So that'll be great.
Can I just say, if you're watching this, that your necklace is a road mic.
My necklace is a road mic. It's very judgy.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I like that. Dipped in gold, my neck, see? But yeah, this week as well, I've also had a very literacy-packed week.
You have?
I have indeed. I've had a lot of press releases sent to me for new Welsh authored books that are coming out.
I have read a few of them. Well, not the books,
over the coming weeks.
The articles.
I've noted some of them down just so that I could sort of show to people the breadth of like authors that we have there. So this is these are just a couple of ones that are coming out over the next couple of weeks. So we've got a poetry book coming out, which I'm quite excited for. I'm still slowly like dipping my toe into the water of poetry. It's always been an area that I've been interested in.
Yeah.
And as a writer, you would think I'd be, I want to try my hand at poetry, but it has always been something that it's been a skill that I've just shied away from. I don't know if it's like confidence,
school,
imagination. This is the thing. I think school can put a lot of people off poetry, but it's something that like I'm sort of dipping my toe in the water of. But anyway, so it's like a celebration of Welsh poetry through the ages, and it's linked with sort of our environment and how our environment has been perceived over the last 100 years. So that's a really exciting book coming out. We've got Circus Rebels, the inside story of No Fit State Circus.
I'd like to get a copy of that. Yeah. I'd like to have a read of that.
Yeah, I put out to all of the publishers that I'd be more than happy to read these and review them.
What time are you going to have?
Well, I'll find the time. I'll find the time. We've got Value Whispering, which is a business book, business advice. And so valuing whispering instead of shouting from a rooftop. It's like a marketing strategy and a new way of considering marketing.
Okay.
We've got Rainbow Whales by Emily Garside, which are queer icons past and present. So a real like diverse range with those 4.
I'm doing a Q&A with Emily Garside in May on that book, I believe.
Yeah. It is because that is her new book coming out. So yeah, you can see that there's such a wide variety of authors coming out of Wales, even in the next couple of weeks. So it's definitely something that I think it's been on my list this year. I want to read more Welsh authored work. So I think it's going to be very easy for me to do, to be honest. And
all of that information is going to be on the edits.
Yeah, so everything other than, hopefully by the time this goes out, Emily Garside's Queer Icons one will be out as well. I've only just had the press release for it today. That's why I've been waiting for the proper press release from the publisher for it. We know Emily anyway, so I probably could have gleaned enough information off her, but I just thought, no, I want to do it the same that I've done everybody else's and get it out there. Into the world. But yeah, so
all the information, theeditwales.com for that one.
Theeditwales.com.
Brilliant. Shall we move on to our first question of the week?
Yeah.
It is coming up after this. Okay, Jack, let's go with question 1 for this one.
I will preface this by saying both questions today are questions that I've had to sort of reword because so many people have pretty much asked both of these questions just in different variations. So I've reworded them to hopefully encapsulate everyone's questions.
Okay.
So that we can give one concise answer instead of ask. Yeah.
I am excited.
So there's no names attached to any of these. You all know who you are who have asked these questions. Hopefully you remember doing it. You didn't do it after a bottle of wine. So question 1.
That's not the question.
I want to talk about the lack of arts funding in Wales, but I don't want to get political. How do I raise issues without causing drama?
Oh, okay. Right.
I think there's a lot of facets to this, really. I think, like, first and foremost, I think you need to sort of frame everything as lived experience, not a rant. And, you know, that's how you make the argument feel more grounded. Sort of say, it feels like this on the ground. From where we are, it does feel a little like this, instead of looking for someone to place blame on. Because when it comes to things like funding, there is only a finite amount of money. Like, we've looked into this before. Like, I know I definitely have the disproportionate, like, amount of funding that happens. Even just, you know, an Arts Council Wales are only one funding provider for the arts in Wales.
There are many.
But when you take Arts Council Wales and you take Arts Council England and you look at how much per capita each one gets, it is hugely disproportionate how much more Arts Council England get. And yes, they are a bigger country, but per capita, they still get a lot more money to spend on the arts than we do. So it's a really sad state of affairs that not everything can be funded. Some things can't.
For me, I think, right, you've got Arts Council Wales, you've got Creative Wales, you've got Film Cymru Wales, National Lottery,
Heritage
Fund, Heritage Fund. You've got a myriad of different resources. You've got Literature Wales, and let's not forget as well that there are local authorities, and local authorities, as brilliant as lots of them are, and don't get me wrong, everybody is cash strapped and all these things, but let's not forget that local authorities do have an obligation to provide funding and provide resources. So if you're planning on putting on an event or a project or something like that, look at your local authority, because you will find on their website, you will usually find there is funding available, and it comes out at certain times of the year. I mean, we are trustees for Barry Pride, and we apply to Barry Town Council pending for their funding for this year. And unless, I mean, to be totally honest with you, unless I knew that was there, it would have been very difficult to find that. And that's no negativity towards Barry Town Council, but I think you need to, in some instances, you need to know somebody who's in the organisation to be able to say, is there money available? If there is, where's the link? Or can you send me the form? And I do think you have to put your best foot forward and provide, and just say, can I have this money? Where can I get this money from? Is there money out there? But I will also say, you do not need, art doesn't always need funding in order to succeed.
No, I think there's more to be said on people who can generate a self-producing revenue-making sort of entity within their own art and within their own thing. And we see this quite a lot with a lot of artists that we know that that we're quite good friends with, 9 times out of 10, they're never really looking to funding providers in order to make their work. But what they are doing is they're big marketing machines.
Yes.
And I will also preface this by saying as well that they're a really broad age range as well. We're not talking about like just younger people who know how things like social media work. There's quite a broad range of people here who have just
I can think of a 62-year-old off the top of my head.
Yeah, they've invested their time to learn these skills. So I think a lot of the thing is like, don't be thinking there's a lack of art funding, therefore there's no point in me trying, or there's no point in me doing anything in the arts because of the lack of funding, because that's just it's some of these questions, like they did feel almost defeatist from the beginning. Like, well, there's a lack of art funding. I'm never going to get any funding, so I'm not going to do any art, or I'm just not going to bother try it. When I think if you can surround yourself with like-minded people that have a more positive approach and you can learn things off each other. You can learn, well, how is this person managing to create all this art, sell all this art, exhibit in loads of different places up and down the country, and they're never seeming to apply for art council funding or national lottery funding? What are they doing that I'm not doing? And sort of make friends with them. I very seldom have I met an artist that when I've asked them very open questions like that, they haven't answered it, or they've said that they didn't want to answer it, because they almost feel proud of the fact that they get to be a self-propelling machine of art and creation.
I think it's, I think it's a badge of honor if you're able to succeed as an artist or a creative, and you've not been able to tap into funding. But I will say though that if you're an artist or a creative, and you need sort of a push forward, then yeah, I would say apply for funding. If there is funding available, apply for funding. But what I would also say is, I mean, I speak to people on a very regular basis whose job it is to apply for grants here, there, and everywhere. And I know a lot of them say that it is tougher now than it ever has been.
And it's not going to get any easier anytime soon. So I think we need a mind shift change in the arts at the moment, that it's not going to be the same level of funding opportunities that have always been out there. We need to find new ways of doing it.
But just to add to it though, I do think that the reason why it's so difficult is because there are so many applicants now. And I think that I think there's just a pool of great people who are providing some fantastic information out there. What they're doing is I would like to put this production on, I'd like to put that production on. There's only a finite amount of money, and you have to, as I suppose as a funder, you have to decide on which one you're going to fund out of the 3 or 4 applicants, and you've only got enough money to fund potentially one of them. And at the end of the day, you've got to pick who you think is probably the best person, who's going to deliver the most return or the best value for the area that they're occupying or whatever their application is.
But sometimes it literally comes down to how that application has been written. It might not even come down to which one is best. It's who's written the questions better and how they fill that form out. And it is a form filling exercise sometimes. But I do think that there is a case for, yes, there's funding to physically make the work. There's also funding pots out there for artists where, okay, they don't receive the money directly into their bank accounts, but it pays for them to go on things like marketing courses and bid writing courses and grant application courses and learn how to do social media marketing and work with PR and comms teams. So that is something that I think you should all be looking out for, really, and jumping on the chance to. So many people have said to me in the past, why isn't the edit funded? Why don't you have like national lottery funded?
Yes, why don't you have it funded, Jack?
Because honestly, I just never felt like it needed it from the beginning, because I thought, right, I think I can start this as something for just me, which is what it sprang from originally. It was something just for me that I felt like I needed to see in the industry. I didn't know if anybody else felt the same way. Turns out they did, and it's grown from that. But even now, I'm at a point where I'm just like, the Edit Wales itself as an entity, as an online magazine, I'm doing it in a way that it isn't, the magazine itself doesn't cost me thousands of pounds. I'm not printing that magazine. It's not something that I'm putting out into the world every month or every year that needs to be paid for. It's something that I can sort of just keep on track of and move forward. And, the guys that like work with us and write for us and stuff like that, and they can all manage it for themselves as well. So there's a level of ownership, really, that we're each taking a part of, and it's our own little thing that we are sort of cradling like a little baby. But it's not something at the moment that I ever thought I instantly need funding, or this will close, this will stop working, this will stop happening. A couple of times I have thought, I could maybe, one thing I would love to brush up on more is things like SEO skills and things like that. And if there was ever funded courses in the arts for things like that, yeah, I'd probably jump the opportunity to go on things like that. But
I have said so many times, and I think this is something that I'm working on at the moment. I know it's something I'm working on at the moment, which is to have one-to-many training courses for the arts sector.
Yeah.
That is absolutely essential.
And I think that's really important, because I don't think I would go on an SEO course on my own, because I would just feel stupid the whole time because I would know nothing.
And you'd probably be surrounded by usual corporate entities rather than artistic.
But if I was in a room of creatives, like so many artists have a website that is just their name.
Yeah.
And if they understood the concept of SEO and how it works and how to improve it on their own website, they'd be flying. They'd be amazing, and they'd be selling globally without much of an issue.
Yeah. It's providing the resources, isn't it? I think that's absolutely essential. And I do think, there are, I will say that I know that there are surgeries that happen every now and again from funding organisations like Creative Wales, like Arts Council Wales, like Literature Wales. There are surgeries where you can pop in and find out how you fill in a grant application. There is also support available for filling in a grant application. That doesn't necessarily mean that you stand any better a chance, but it does arm you with the information and the resources in order to complete the best possible application that you can.
Yeah.
But as I say, I do genuinely think that if it's possible to create your art without funding, then do definitely try. Definitely try. Start your company, start your organization, start your journey as an entrepreneur in the arts. Start it unfunded, because you never know, you could actually find yourself creating something without the need for funding. And you don't get locked into this cycle then of, I need to apply for the next set of funding. So rather than creating something for yourself. And I think that's incredible.
I think the real takeaway from this is to sort of like keep it future facing. Stop framing it in your mind as this is broken, and more focus on this is what could be possible with the current situation that we find ourselves in now. And I think it's just all about mindset. But then on a final note, I would just sort of say that the best thing to do is, this is why we started this podcast. This is why we've called it Pain in the Arts, because we do all have gripes and moans about the arts sector.
Really?
And we just want to get off our chest and hear other people echo what it is that we're saying in agreement. So that we're not shouting into the void. But I would say stay generous in the tone that you approach your complaints in, because you can be honest without being hostile, and it keeps doors open, it keeps conversations open. You never want to go into something and speak to somebody and sort of complain or moan or gripe to them, and by the end of that conversation that person has thought of you in their head as someone who only does that and then gives you a wide berth, because then you'll find your pool of resources and help and support shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So yeah, I would just say, be honest without being hostile, keep it bright, keep it, I know it's our livelihoods at the end of the day, and our art is so much linked with our lives and our culture and who we are as an identity of people, but it's not going to change overnight.
No, sadly not. Well, at least we shared in, like a problem shared is a problem halved. So at least
could be quartered as well if there's more people listening.
But yeah, thank you so much to the many people who asked that question.
Yes,
Thank you very much. We will be back with question 2 very shortly. Okay, Jack, let's go with question 2.
Question 2, same thing again. I've had to slightly reword it in order to compile it from many questions into one.
I'm intrigued.
But this one particularly has interested me.
Okay.
Because it's something I've thought about in the past, quite a while ago. So, I want to make work rooted in Wales, but I'm worried it could be seen as too niche outside of the country. How do I stay local without limiting myself?
Oh, good question. Good question. Now, me personally, I would love, if I'm not in Wales, if I grew up in Wales and I moved away from Wales, if there was a production that was going on that had some remnant of Wales going on, I would go and see it if I could. It's analogous to when you go on holiday and you go to, I don't know, you go to Spain or something, and you
do hear someone talking like that around the pool,
and all of a sudden you're like, oh, what part of Wales are you from?
Yeah.
And then you go to the Welsh bar. Even though you're in another country, you go to the Welsh bar. We are that type of people. We love to cluster together.
Yeah.
So I do think that if you are leaving Wales with your problem. With your production, that when you do leave Wales, chances are you will find yourself surrounded by people going to see your production who are also from Wales, who just left Wales.
Yeah,
So
I think
it's an incredible
local
audience.
doesn't equal niche.
Absolutely not.
It's more, it's you're giving yourself a specific style of art, a specific influence of art. It's grounded in real place, real existence, real like storytelling, and it is showing the textures of Wales's creative sort of ecosphere, really. And I think it's a unique taste to us. We've talked about this before, that Wales has a very specific sort of je ne sais quoi, for want of a better word, when it comes to our creative outputs. And I think you can take that all over the world. You look at countries like, you look at like Scandinavia, Ireland, Korea, who their artists, you are known for using their cultural heritage and informing it, whether or not that's applied art, theatre, music, TV. You can see their cultural influences in everything that they do. And, you know, we've got an entire global furniture store based on the Scandi design of furniture and the way of living. When I was an interior designer, Scandi, like, vibes were all the trend. Everyone wanted a Scandi rustic home, everybody.
Yeah.
And so, and, you know, none of those designers compromised on the fact that they were Scandinavian, being influenced by their Scandinavian culture in order to push their thing. And really, I think we should be doing the same thing for Wales. I don't think it's niche. I think maybe these people who have asked these questions, because there were quite a few that asked similar ones to this, I think maybe they're thinking, oh, I can't paint, like, I can't be another artist that paints Sugarloaf Mountain, or I can't be another artist who paints the outside of the Wales Millennium Centre. It's been done a million times before. Yeah, it has. But from their perspective, not in your way, not in your style. And I think sometimes you have to start with the cliche, for want of a better word, and move out from there, and you'll find other influences from there. Like, I quite often circle back in my own work to things that are more stereotypically Welsh. Like, something that really, like, has influenced me recently are the traditional Welsh blanket patterns.
Yes, I have seen these.
Yeah, and I've really looked into them and researched them, and they're akin to Scottish kilts and the tartan that you see on them. They're very unique to the family that made them. So I think when you start picking away at things and you start looking deeper and deeper and deeper into the culture, there's so much material there that you can pull on.
No pun intended.
It doesn't feel cliche. It doesn't feel too niche when you bring it out. It's just got that specific vibe of Wales.
But I will also say, though, I think social media has really proven that now, in this era, we are all very similar to each other. So if you've got something, let's take a theatre production, and you're putting it on in Wales, and you've based it on, you take like the My Mixed Up tape. If you took that, which is a story about Pontypridd, and you took it to any other part of the UK, there would be, okay, people are going to understand, be a little bit confused for a second. But once they realise that this is just like any other Welsh town, this is like any other northern town, this is like any other southern town, it doesn't make any difference. The story isn't unique to Wales, because we all have these stories. We are all sharing in the same stories, and social media has really made that accessible and really, really shown to us that we all have these. We're not as unique as we'd like to think.
No, what was that production that we saw? I can't believe it slipped my mind because I liked it so much. By Mary Lloyd.
Still Here.
Still Here. That's the one.
That
that name wouldn't come forward to me. But I remember in the Q&A afterwards, you asked her, like, how did this translate in London? Because it feels like very specific Welsh Valleys humour in parts or stories.
I can't not ask a question in a Q&A.
I know. You need to. But she said that pretty much the same thing, didn't she? You'd be surprised how much of what we think is niche to us is actually a universally lived experience. All we're doing is offering it up with the seasoning of Welshness. That's all we're doing, really.
Absolutely.
And I think the fact that it draws us together and it shows us these similarities, whether or not that's within the UK or globally, people will find these similarities and bring communities and people together, and stories will overlap slowly as these things happen. And I think the same can be said in visual arts and music as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think we are as unique as we'd like to think. So do not think that your work for a second is niche and is exclusively available in Wales or should only be marketed in Wales. Market yourself all over the world.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are, I don't know, in South America who love the Welsh accent, who love the Welsh stories, and they will, if they can afford to, they will buy your work. And they will watch whatever you're creating. If it's accessible for them to get your work, they will get your work. So do not think that your work is unique to Wales just because it's of Wales and from Wales. And
I think maybe you need to see Wales as your lens, not as your boundary. And you can sort of you can think of it as Wales is your perspective on the world. It's not a fence around it.
Yeah.
You're not penning yourself into that. You're just adding our culture into your work, our what we know into your work.
I love that. I think that's the best way to end that.
Yes.
Does that work?
Yeah, let's go on.
Yeah. No, we have more to... Yeah. What are we doing in the week ahead, Jack?
Well, in the week ahead, so you've got some voiceover work coming up.
I am doing some voiceover work for an industry live event, which is a series of YouTube productions that are going to be going on. They're going to be streamed live, and my voiceover work is going to be done in advance, which is going to be like tonight on.
Which is always for the best.
What, done live?
No, it's always for the best when you record ahead.
Why? I trying to say I go off script.
No, yeah, you do go off script. But I also think when you do things live as well, you're not leaving a lot of room for mistake or error or setting a tone. And I think the tone for this would be really important to be set right.
But it will be the very first show that has been put on, a live talk show that is going to be put on in Wales ever.
Exciting.
I know, it's going to be brilliant. Yeah. So I was really keen to be part of that. And so I think hopefully you and I are going to be in the audience.
Hopefully, if we can get some tickets to it.
The voice of the Lord. I know.
So we're heading to G39 to the exhibition opening of Kelsey Cruz Martin on Friday.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to that as well. I wrote a bit of promo for that and put it out on the web, on the Edits website.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to go and check out and find out more about that exhibition in G39, I would definitely suggest you do, because the photos of it make it look I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued, and it's very modern and fresh, and it's something that really piques my interest.
I think we'll probably talk about that next week, having been to see it as well.
Yes, definitely. I don't know why I made that noise, and I was really excited by it. We're going to be attending the Get the Chance Awards at Porter's on Saturday. You're presenting the award. I was on the judging panel. You were really hard to judge all the people that were in that group.
Do you know?
Yes.
Can you tell me? Okay.
I know. I've even deleted the emails so that I don't accidentally open it in front of anybody.
Fair.
Because a couple of people in there I knew of, so I was just like, well, I don't want them being, I know Jack was on that, and swoop, I'm trying to get my phone
just like log into your emails surreptitiously.
Well, you don't know. We've been to some really big award ceremonies in the past where it is cutthroat.
Yes.
People don't win and they stand up and walk out.
I think we have done that once. But we
didn't do it because we didn't win.
We were going to France.
We told each other, we were going to France 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And it was like 10:30 by the time our category was called. We didn't win. Yeah. To which we were like, thank you, because we don't have to get up and give a speech and then stay till the end. And we just left as soon. We did look like sore losers then, but we weren't. We just wanted it.
But we were on a boat 4 hours later or 5 hours later.
Yeah. We're going to attempt round 2 of going to the Botanical Gardens to see Nathan Weiberg. We had a bit of a hiccup last week.
A hiccup?
We won't get into it, but let's just say we got in the car, drove up the motorway, ate our packed lunch, turned around, came straight back again. We won't get into it, but we're going to try and go back this Sunday to catch Nathan's exhibition. I hope we haven't missed it.
Yeah, I'm told that is the last day of it.
Oh, so hopefully they're not taking it down as they're running in, but we'll see. Midsummer Murders at the New Theatre.
That is on Tuesday.
Are we going to see it?
No, we're not going to see it. I think it's Harry who's going to see it.
Oh, okay.
But we will double check that.
Well, if it isn't, I don't know. But every now and again, I do like going to go and see productions that are aimed at an older audience.
Now come on now, Jack.
They're a more well-behaved audience, I'll tell you that. They know how to act in a theatre, and I love it.
Yes,
and
I will say.
And I love the smell of the snacks that they bring.
Although they are rustlers.
They are, but that's fine. I go to the theatre with my nan all the time. She's a rustler.
Yeah, but she can hear perfectly because she got her hearing loop
she's got the loop turned on.
Yes,
and not really artistic, but it is artistic what they do with them this week as well. All 3 of our dogs are being groomed, which I cannot wait for. Even though
we have 6, just 3.
But the 3 with hair, the other 3 are Chinese cresteds that don't have hair. But I thought spring had sprung, so we booked this appointment to get all 3 of the dogs groomed. It's freezing. It is absolutely freezing. The weather people weren't lying when they said we were getting a second winter.
Yeah.
It is horrible out there.
Yeah, and I thought, we can end up with like spring illnesses, like a spring cold and all that sort of thing. No, we're just going to end up with a cold.
First half of this podcast, I've been collapsing this mug of chai
Yes.
because I've been so cold.
I've enjoyed that though. It's
I
very
know.
nice.
But yeah, that's what we've got in the week ahead. There'll probably be some more stuff dotted in amongst there, press releases, articles, opinion pieces going out on the edit. So check us out if you want to see any of that.
Do we have time for a community shout out?
We do indeed. A community shout out this week is Native Radio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Native Radio.
Particularly, not just because you've just started a show on there, which, is great.
Plug.
But it's the training program that they put out, reaching young audiences and training them in creative skills and keeping creative industry going. I think a lot of people easily snub their nose up at radio and see it as a dying format, when really, like, something that I see, especially in my sector of like magazine and journalism, is that younger people are turning to analog. They're turning to tangible, real things. Bit of an inside scoop. We are looking into some form of quarterly production of a magazine that will be an offshoot of the edit, because we want something that is real and tangible that people can hold. And radio is within that genre, really. You feel like the people are in the room with you.
I've been... So the reason I wanted to get involved with Native Radio is because they got in touch with me and they said, we're looking to help local talent expand their knowledge, and so we're going to provide some sort of training programs. We've applied for some funding. I think it was with the National Lottery Community Fund, and they got this funding, and they were looking for people to help deliver courses to help these young people expand their knowledge and potentially become presenters. Now, I've done the course. I run the course now for 10 weeks, and then it gets handed over to Polly James from Radio X, used to be on Capital, and it's been a brilliant exercise. The confidence that you can see bubbling out of people. And on week 10, we took them live on radio.
I saw the clips of that on Instagram, and that was what perked my attention. I was just like, oh, do you know what? I think they're going to be the community shout out this week, because I could genuinely see the joy in their faces when they were sat in the studio. None of them were nervous. They were just all there because they loved it. And I think there was not one person in that room that when they spoke that I thought, I could see each and every single one of you having a career in radio or broadcasting or something to that effect.
But like I said to them, even if you don't, the skills that you're learning on this radio station will make you more confident, more outgoing, more personable. If you're going into a sales role, if you go, well, if you're going
public
into any
speaking,
role,
teaching,
it's such an accolade, and it's such a valuable skill to have. Most definitely. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this had we not had the confidence to do so.
Yeah,
and it's broadcasting like that, and it's opportunities like that that are being done by just small organizations like Native Radio. I honestly, I was so on board as soon as they said, this is why we're doing it. This is how it's going to look. So yeah, I was on board with that. Good community shout out, Jack. Thank you very much for that. That is it for Pain in the Arts for this week again.
it is indeed, and I'm thoroughly exhausted.
Well, you've got a show to go and see.
I know. I'm going to try and squeeze in a quick 15-minute nap and a bagel before I go.
How are we going to do that? Well, we'll figure it out. Anyway, please do feel free. Follow us on socials, Pain in the Arts Podcast on Instagram. You can send us a message there. Jack is available on socials. You're on Instagram.
I am on Instagram, Substack, all of TikTok, all of them, everything. Jack Welsh Arts. You can find me anywhere you like.
You can find me, Chris J. Butch _UK on practically everything. But that is it from us. We will be back next week for much more Pain in the Arts. Thank you so much for joining us.